If you're anything like me, it's probably the pistols that brought you to Cowboy Action Shooting. The single action revolver is just quintessential to being a cowboy. And there are actually several styles in cowboy action that you can use this gun. You can use a two-handed approach, or you can use a one-handed approach. There are even styles where you can have a gun in each hand. What we'll do today is we'll look at the four main pistol styles, and we'll look at kind of an extra one that you might be called upon to do at any given stage. Those are traditional, duelist, and a subdivision of duelist is double duelist, gunfighter, and lastly, we'll look at what it's like to be an outlaw. So what we'll do is we'll look at both a first-person and a third-person operation of each of the styles of pistol shooting for cowboy action. If you haven't, go ahead, like, subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing breakdowns of shotgun and rifle. And one of the things that we'll do after the pistol shooting is we'll look at draw styles and holsters. But it's important to figure out how you want to shoot the guns before we figure out how to wear and draw the guns. Now, for two-handed or the traditional operation, we'll talk about our grip first. I'm gonna throw my 3 fingers around the grip here. I've got my index finger ready for triggering here. And the thumb, I'm just gonna line up on the side of the gun. Very similar to how I would shoot a semi-automatic. Other hand is gonna come in, I'm gonna wrap here, okay? I'll throw this finger down low, because what I don't wanna do is I don't wanna get in my own way, right? So I'm just kinda grabbing here, and this is gonna be my hammer operator. So I'm like this. And then I would pull the trigger, just like that. Now, something that's important to talk about, and we'll get into this a little bit later, is the idea of what it means to be single action and what a slip hammer or a cowboy double tap is. A single action means that when I pull this trigger, it's going to release the hammer, right? But if I have the trigger pulled and I pull the hammer back, there's nothing to prevent it from going forward. So you can almost think about your trigger at some points as your gun's safety, right? Trigger finger is the safety. So if I fire here, depress the trigger, I could stay depressed and hammer a second time. When we get into sequences where I'm gonna shoot the same target twice in a row, that is a very fast way to double tap the target by keeping that trigger down. That's what we call a slip hammer. Now, if I'm moving target to target, I will pull the trigger again. So if I was doing something that was 2 shots here, 2 shots here, 1 shot here, that would look something like this. There, then I'm depressing the trigger, there, and I'm depressing the trigger, there, just like so. Let's take a look at that from the third person. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach in to my holster with my 3 fingers, and I'm gonna grab the handle of my gun here. I'm keeping my thumb and my index finger off the trigger and the hammer until I'm getting into position where I'm coming onto target. And then I will feed that index finger in, and then I might depress the hammer with my dominant hand, with my right hand there on my first pull, and then use my left hand the rest of the time here. Again, I'm keeping the rest of my hand out of the way. I don't want to grab it up too high. I don't want gas, escaping through here, hitting me. I'm down. I'm nice and tight. We're using a low recoil ammunition to begin with, and this is a 38, so there's virtually no, kick that I'm going to worry about. Okay. And then when I return to my holster, same kind of thing. I'm putting it in, dropping it right in. Now, cowboy action though, we have 2 guns. I'm wearing these guns in a double strong side today. This is not how I usually shoot traditional. Traditional, I usually shoot from a cross draw, but this will feed into some of our other styles here. So for my first gun, I'm gonna grab the same way, 3 fingers, thumb and forefinger off, but I'm gonna bring it up and I'm gonna pass it to my hand here, okay? And trade in, and I will do my 5 shots. I will then take this gun, put it in this holster as I'm bringing my other gun up, and then do my 5 shots here. So what that looks like if I'm on the cowboy action stage is I'm bringing 1 up, feed, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in. And then I'm off to shoot my rifle or shotgun. The remaining styles for cowboy action will all use 1 hand to operate the single action revolver. It's just a question of whether you're using your right hand and your left hand, one for each gun, or if you're going to use your dominant hand, be that right or left, twice for each gun. So what we'll do is we'll look at that single-handed operation. And again, very similar. I'm grabbing with the 3. I've got this one here to trigger, but I'm using this thumb. Now this is what's called a Montado style hammer. It kind of angles back, points down. It's very easy to get your thumb on and grab. I have also had a lot of work done to this particular set of pistols here. You can see there's no hammer spur there. It has a transfer bar there that's a little bit safer. And it also has a very light spring. It does not take much effort for me to pull that down. And then the trigger is very light as well. So I want to make sure that my finger is not on the trigger until I'm ready to go. And if I'm slip hammering, I don't engage the hammer until I'm on target. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to get in position. I'll pull the hammer back, let it come down, trigger, and I'm just coming up and grabbing it. Very simple motion. The less that you're reaching and moving around, the less that you're going to be coming off target. So I want to keep it nice and light there. If I'm using the other hand, like for instance doing a gunfighter, same thing. I let one go, and I let the other go, and I get into a rhythm. There's another way to do gunfighter in which you would cock both, fire, cock both, fire. Some people like to do it that way. I like to do a rhythm. But either way is fine. We do have a video that I put out a while ago that kind of breaks down gunfighter and how to get into it a little bit more if you want to check that out. I'll link that as well. But let's look at this on the draw. We'll start out with what my favorite shooting style is, which is Duelist. Duelist is where you use one hand to operate the gun, and you cannot support the gun with the other hand. Everything has to be done with the right hand unless you have some kind of malfunction and you need the other hand to assist with clearing that. So that means I pull, and then I'm going to fire my 5 shots. Now, I'm going to put this gun away, and now I have a choice. I could draw my second gun with the same hand here. So if I had a cross draw holster, I'd be drawing my second gun, and then I'm going to shoot with my right hand again. Or I can shoot with the other hand. And that is what's called double duelist. When you do double duelist, you do not have to put away your first gun when you draw your second one. So you can do just what I'm doing here. What's nice about that is then you holster both together and you go to your next position. With traditional duelist, I fire, I gotta holster this one, draw my other one. And a lot of times where you can run into issues is when you take your eyes off the target, you got to refine your sight window to holster your gun. Now, you can get to where you know where your gun and your holster is, and this is something that you can practice doing a bunch, but when that bell rings, when the adrenaline's up, you know, you missed your holster, you drop that gun on the ground, it's a match DQ, you were done for the day. So it's something like I always look back to my holster to put my guns away. Shooting double duelist, which honestly I think is just really cool too. That means I only have to look at my holsters once, and when I'm looking at those holsters, I can be doing it as I'm moving to my next position. So I find it a little bit faster. I think it's cool to shoot with both hands. So again, single duelist, I'm here, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna put it away, right? I'm gonna find the other gun, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Okay, double duelist, a little bit different. I'm gonna draw here, 2, 3, 4, 5. This gun's empty, but I can leave it out. Draw my other gun, 3, 4, 5. Find those holsters, put them both away, move to my next position. So that is duelist, and double duelist. Starting on Cowboy Action, I think everybody wants to shoot Gunfighter. It just seems the coolest. But it is one of those ones, it takes a lot of coordination, muscle memory, and it's very easy to get off. I find that if I shoot Gunfighter and I miss, my miss is often followed by a miss and then another miss. Whereas if I shoot traditional or even Duelist, I usually am able to correct myself, not always, and get back on target. Now, Gunfighter, there's two ways that you can do it. There's what I call rhythm and blues. That's how I shoot. I'm gonna cock, fire, cock, fire, cock, fire, cock, fire. So I've got this little rhythm going. The other way that you can do it is what I call gross motor. Cock them both, fire, fire. Cock them both, fire, fire. Now, Gunfighter is the only time in Cowboy Action where you can have both revolvers out, loaded, pointed downrange. No other time that you can do that, including double duelist. Double duelist, before I draw my second gun, my first gun has to be empty, okay? Then I can pull my other one out and it doesn't matter now because it's empty, I put them away together. But you have to be a gunfighter or be Western to be able to have both loaded guns out at the same time. Now, when I do that, again, I'm pulling out, I'm getting on range, I'm gonna cock one, fire, cock one, fire. And I'm doing this little rhythm and blues, finding the target, fire, just like so. And it's a lot of fun. It's very easy, like I said, to kind of get off target. I find that it really helps that if you shoot your pistols with both of your eyeballs open, it really helps come into Gunfighter. If you were one eye closed lining up the sights, it's gonna be harder unless you're able to, close both eyes, one eye at a time, which I can't do very well. It's gonna make it tricky. The other way that you can do it, like I said, gross motor. Throw your thumbs up, 1, 2. Thumbs up, 1, 2. And it's an acceptable way to do it. I've seen guys do it and be very good at it. I personally, there's something about it, I don't love it. I've practiced it, I've tried it out. Something about having the hammers back both at the same time where I'm not firing them both at the same time or anything. It just makes it feel to me like I'm gonna get an accidental discharge. I don't want that, so I do rhythm and blues. And this works really well for me. Again, I've got a video out on the channel that you can check out that really breaks down that motion. Really shows you how you can use, some modern semi-automatic guns to practice that and kind of get in and doing what I'm talking about with the eyeball, keeping them both open, instead of thinking about I'm taking the gun and I'm changing my head position, I move the gun into my sight window each time. So I just know where I'm looking is on target and I move the sight to that spot. And that seems to work really well for me. Again, it's gonna be perfect personal preference for you. Practice both, and I would recommend trying the other styles before you jump right into Gunfighter, because it is a little bit tricky. It can be frustrating when you miss all the targets on the stage. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna look at one more style that is called Outlaw style. When we think about a high noon gunfight in the Old West, we usually don't think of someone shooting like that. We usually think of that, right? Because it would be much faster. And this is what we call outlaw style. What I'm doing is I'm shooting from below the shoulder. So I'm not using the sights at all. I'm using point of aim. And usually when we do this, it's on a very big target, like a man-sized target. There is not currently a cast division where it is legal to shoot outlaw style. I mean, you can shoot outlaw style, but you wouldn't be in a separate category for it. There are certain matches that will have an outlaw division. There are certain stages that will require a shot or a series of shots from the outlaw position, which is, again, that kind of drawing and firing from the hip. It's actually not as difficult as you might think. Here's a video that we'll link up here where we're checking that out. This is smaller the target gets, of course. The more you want to be using the sight on the gun, it's almost like that's what it's there for, right? But it is a cast a style that is sometimes called in on a stage, usually for fun. And what we're doing is we're coming in and we're going to do that one-handed operation, and we're going to fire one down range. Got to be very careful that you're not shooting up over the berm there. So you want to have an idea of where your gun is level, and then knowing that you don't have to angle it very much to shoot here, right? You don't want to be doing something like that. So it's not something that you'll see a lot, but it is something that you see time from time. Let's go ahead and break down those styles one more time. So what style that you shoot will be, you know, personal preference, what division you want to compete in. For instance, if you shoot in Classic Cowboy, you have to shoot Duelist or Double Duelist. If you shoot in B Western, all the styles are open to you. And then, of course, if you shoot Gunfighter, you got to shoot Gunfighter. Shoot Duelist, you got to shoot Duelist, etc. Now, the fastest style is going to be the two-handed operation of the gun. It's just hard to get any faster than that. So on your open categories, your age-based categories, that is what you are going to see people do most often. If you're going to shoot a different way, enroll yourself in one of the categories that is for that, because then you'll be shooting against people that are operating the gun in the same way you are. Duelist, that is one-handed operation of the gun, unsupported. We're not getting the other hand involved. And then when we finish that first gun, we can either go double Duelist, where we're shooting with the other hand here, or we just draw our second gun and do one hand here. That is how I shoot for Classic Cowboy, for instance. I do a single Duelist. Now, Gunfighter, that's where we're gonna draw both loaded guns at the same time, and we're gonna gauge our targets. Now, you do not have to do what I'm doing here, where I'm shooting one gun, then the next gun. You could fire 3 out of this one, then 2 out of this one, but that would get confusing unless there's a severe advantage of why you would want to do that. I would recommend just alternating. And again, we could do that alternate hammer style. Okay, so a couple options there. And then lastly, one that you're not going to see too often is that outlaw style. Every now and then we'll have, we've had stages where there's just a big man-sized target and you gotta do an outlaw style on him, and then you'll, you know, shoot more traditional targets afterwards. So something that you'll see from time to time, which is why I wanted to throw it out. And again, there's not a division currently that is a CAS official division. However, there are some matches that will offer Outlaw as a category, and it is really fun to see. You also, you know, you could fire your rifle and your shotgun Outlaw style. We'll look at that maybe on a later date. You guys have a fantastic day. Look forward to more of these videos. Subscribe and get out there and shoot.